The purchasing power has been sunk. This is while the wages remain stagnant and taxes keep soaring. Fellow Kenyans, the result is not prosperity. The result is economic fatigue, reduced consumer spending, shrinking margins for businesses, and rising public anger. Kenyans remain under deep unspoken stress. In the budget statement, we have made a closer examination of sectoral allocations, reveals a worrying shift in Kenya's national priorities over the past 3 years. Kenya's priority sectors are education, health, and agriculture. These sectors touch every Kenyan and every facet of our lives. Previous informed and caring governments gave priority and adequate funding to these sectors. During the Grand Coalition administration, education continuously received between 20 and 25% of the national budget, making it one of the government's highest priorities. Under the Jubilee administration of President Uhuru Kenyatta, education remained a major priority, receiving between 24 to 27% of the national budget. Under Mr. William Ruto, education funding has fallen to 16.2% of the budget. This drop is felt directly by the parents who are being forced to pay for primary and secondary education, school, college, and university education. The gains made in free primary and free day secondary school education are all being blown into oblivion. What is the future of our children? Why is this regime at war with our children and our youth? Why are you killing our future? Under the budget estimates of 2025-2026 financial year, agriculture remains at crossroads. Traditionally, agriculture has been the backbone of our economy. The sector has been traditionally been receiving between 4% to 6%. Under this regime, agriculture has been grossly defunded. Only 2% of the total budget has been allocated to this sector. This is despite the fact that this sector employs a majority of the population and remains the socio-economic backbone of our rural livelihoods. Mr. President, why are you defunding agriculture? Did you consult the over 7.1 million registered farmers and the 40% of the total population and nearly 70% of the rural workforce depending on agriculture? On matters health, the sector has historically received between 6 to 8% of the total budget. Unfortunately and painfully, under the current budget estimates, the sector has been allocated a paltry 3.5% of the total budget. This is despite the fact that Kenyans are paying more taxes and higher share deductions than ever before. What is more important to citizens of any nation if not healthcare? A healthy nation is a wealthy nation. In any case, a nation's greatest resource is its people. These people must be healthy and productive. Despite suffocating critical sectors, the government continues to increase allocations to non-essential expenditures. The presidency and State House have continued to expand up to 17 billion in this year's budget. This is funding opulence and corruption. What does State House need Kenya shilling 17 billion for? Are there schools and hospitals in State House? Fellow Kenyans, between the 2022 to 2026, allocation to the security docket steadily rose from Kenya shillings 318 billion to Kenya shillings 567 billion, an increase of Kenya shillings 249 billion without corresponding improvement in securing the people of Kenya and our territory. Why this sharp increase? Why do we still have Jubilant forces still occupying Mandera County and harassing Kenyans? Why are goons working alongside the National Police Service? In recent months, the government has continued to channel billions in travel, hospitality, and administrative overheads, while ordinary Kenyans are being asked. Supplementary estimates show that Kenya shillings 8.4 billion was allocated to State House alone for hospitality, domestic travel, and vehicle operations, while the Controller of Budget flagged Kenya shillings 10.8 billion in travel spending in just 6 months. At the broader level, the current expenditure continues to dominate the budget. Approximately Kenya shillings 1.2 trillion has been allocated for operations and maintenance across government, while Kenya shillings 1.3 trillion is consumed by loan interest payments. As a result, development priorities continue to be squeezed. On the debt management, why is this regime in an open violation of Article 211 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010 and Section 15(2)(c) of the PMF Act 2012 that strictly prohibits the financing of recurrent expenditure using debt? We note that the Grand Coalition government borrowed an average of 200 billion annually. The Jubilee government borrowed an average of 700 billion annually. This regime borrows an average of Kenya shillings 1.4 trillion annually with no corresponding development or services. Dear Kenyans, let us now look at the Punitive Finance Bill 2026-2027. This is the worst finance bill in the history of Kenya. It does not deserve the light of the day. The bill is deeply detrimental. It increases heavy taxation pressure, doubles compliance pressure, and escalates household costs. We thought it would have been expanded the economy and cushioned the ordinary mwananchi. Our first concern is the continued pursuit of unrealistic revenue targets, despite a history of persistent underperformance and an underperforming economy. The government revenue collections have consistently fallen short of targets, yet the response has been to introduce new taxes and illegal levies rather than addressing inefficiencies, broadening the tax base, or stimulating economic growth. This creates a cycle where businesses and citizens are repeatedly asked to shoulder a heavier burden to compensate for unrealistic fiscal planning. The second concern is a proposal to move certain products from zero-rated to VAT exempt status, including solar products, electric mobility equipment, locally assembled mobile phones, and animal feeds. While this may appear neutral on paper, it effectively increases costs because producers can no longer recover input VAT. The inevitable result is higher prices for consumers, farmers, and businesses. At a time when Kenya should be encouraging renewable energy, agricultural productivity, and digital inclusion, these proposals move in the opposite direction. The proposed 16% VAT on digital payment service provider commissions is another regressive measure. Kenya has become a global leader in financial inclusion because mobile money and digital payments have reduced transaction costs and expanded access to financial services. There will be more pain at M-Pesa shops and ATM machines. Taxing these services will increase costs for traders, SMEs, schools, hospitals, and ordinary citizens